Hi guys, welcome to another conversation session. My name remains Victoria. How have we all been doing? It's been a minute, and I know that so many things have been going on these past few months or this past year, but thankfully, we have some hope now, with the vaccine out and all of that. So keep going. Let's all stay safe. Let's all do our bits in our own corner as much as possible to help the situation. All right, so today I want to talk about something that personally is very dear to my heart at the moment, and I feel like it's a situation for a lot of young people, and some of us are getting it wrong. Um, Bear in mind that this is my own personal understanding and opinion and how would I say direction on this. So it's okay if you don't agree with me. And actually, I would like to hear, your own opinion and views about it because thing is, our experiences tend to shape our understanding, therefore, where we stand on certain matters, which is fine. So, guys, let's get talking. Okay, so I want to paint a scenario that would help us to be able to understand what I'm talking about, and then we'll take it from there. So, take a scenario where you have a man and a woman who are in love. They absolutely love each other, and they both agree that they want to spend the rest of their lives together, right? And normally, when people meet, there's that phase of dating, having a relationship, getting to know each other, and all of that good, great stuff. And as time goes on, let's say the woman, because mostly it tends to be us, the women, right? The woman now feels like, okay, now I can confirm my feelings for this guy that I love him and he's right for me. And I want to spend the rest of my life with him. And the man also sort of reflects on his life and he agrees. But then it's where it gets tricky is when it gets to the part where though both of them want the same things and feel the same thing for each other, their understanding of it is different. And this is what I mean. So the man is content with let's be together, maybe move in together and continue being a couple. Whereas the woman wants more. She wants to be a couple, but legally as a wife. So she wants to be married. So we have a man and a woman completely in love with each other and definitely want to spend their lives together. And yet the problem here, oh, the sun's coming out. Hope it doesn't disrupt us. Anyway, the problem here is the woman wants to be together as a wife. She wants to be married. The man it doesn't really want to get married. He just wants to be a couple. And he feels, what's the big deal? If we move in together and we live together and we do everything as married couples, then we are as much of a couple as married people. The only difference will be that we're not formally and legally married. So now this becomes a bone of contention. This becomes the elephant in the room. This becomes the big problem of what to do. This is the situation. I don't know if you can relate. Have you ever found yourself in this position? And what did you do? Because I find that most times it destroys a lot of relationships. And it's a difficult thing, honestly. I know, for example, I personally know that I want to be married someday. And so in my head, before I even get into a relationship with any guy, we have to have that conversation that, listen, for me, my end goal is marriage. So if I get to know you and I feel you're right for me and you feel I'm right for you, you have to be willing to get married. So if you know from the word go that you're the kind of person that marriage is not for you, don't try and start any relationship with me because it's going to end, and let's be honest, relationships most times don't tend to end well. Because when I hear people say, oh, my ex and I are best friends, I personally get confused. If you were that great, why did the relationship end? But that's a topic for another day, right? Now, with the picture I've painted, my question now is what do you do in that kind of situation? A lot of people have done so many different things that have landed them into problems that they did not plan for. Personally, my this is how I see it. The fact that two people, a man and a woman, both want the same things, does not mean that, no, let me rephrase. The fact that both a man and a woman who are in a relationship say they want the same things does not actually mean they want the same things. Because what I mean by I love you may not be exactly what you mean by I love you. So first thing, I've said this in one of my videos, nothing said, nothing implied. Always make sure you define your relationship, which is if you say, oh, I want to spend the rest of my life with you, ask the person, what exactly do you mean by spending the rest of your life with me? And this should be done like at the beginning, so that before you enter, you're very aware of what the kind of relationship you're entering. I think that's the first bit. Now, let's say you skipped all those bits and now you are at this point where, okay, I want to be married, and yet the man is not willing to get married. What do? I personally find that the fact that he doesn't want to be married doesn't make him a bad person. Let's first actually tackle that bit. A man who just wants to cohabit with a woman, live in the same house and be a couple without actually being a husband to her, it doesn't make that kind of man a bad man. That's just what he wants. That's his preference. That's his choice. And it also doesn't make you a bad woman or a desperate woman if you want to be married. That's your choice. That's your preference. You have every right to want that. The same way he also has every right to want what he wants. So in a situation like this, my advice or my take on it is, because a human being is a complicated person. We are all complicated individuals. We have minds of our own, understandings of our own. We all have what we want and what we don't want, and how we imagine and picture our lives to be. So you cannot force or impose it on a person to do what they don't want to do. So if we've gotten to this point where I find, you know what, I've dated you for 2 years, for 3 years, now I want to be married. You say you love me, but you don't want to be married. It's now for me to make a decision for myself. What I cannot do is to try and force you to do for me what you're not ready to do, because eventually it backfires. You see a lot of, as young people, young ladies tend to play games and manipulate the situation. I get that. It's when you really want something, you feel like I need to do all I can to get it. But then other people's experience have shown that in the long run, a man who did not decide by himself that I want to settle down with this woman or I want to marry this woman, if he doesn't cheat, he's irresponsible in the marriage. He would resent you because he'll feel like this is not how I planned my life. And yet some way, somehow, this woman has made my life become what I didn't plan it to be. So at a point like that, you can only but have that conversation. And if that man or woman, because sometimes it's possible that a man wants to get married, right? And the woman doesn't want to get married. Most times it tends to be the women wanting the marriage and the men not wanting it. But sometimes you have, those men who want to be noble and be husbands, and women who just, no, I don't want to have any title. So in such a situation, you have to make a decision for yourself. Okay, I'm at this point where this is what I want, and this is the person I want it with. And even though I absolutely love them and want to be with them, they are not willing to give me what I want. So two things: do I then give up on what I want and because of my love of this person stay and accept whatever it is that they want? Or if I know that, look, I can't give up on what I want because this person isn't willing to give me, then it's to walk away from that person. Either ways, it's a difficult decision, but you have got to make it, and make it for yourself. You can't cajole, you can't force, you can't impose or trick a man or a woman into a marriage when they are not ready. It never works. Most times it backfires. I'm sure there are some of you who are thinking, oh, well, I know somebody who did it and, now they are happy together. There's always that 5% that works. But I don't think it's a healthy thing. And really and truly, the way I see it, if I have to do like play games or do certain crazy things just to get a man to marry me, I don't think it's worth it. I feel like I want a man who wants to get married to me, who wants to make me his wife. And so I've come to really believe that really and truly love is not enough for marriage. Because the fact that a man doesn't want to marry you doesn't mean he doesn't love you. It may just be that he just doesn't want to get married. And that being said, somebody has asked a question before. Well, what's the difference if we're a couple and we're cohabiting, we're living together and we're doing everything as married couples? What's the difference, anyways? And that's where I dare to say there is a difference. If I was living with a man who is my boyfriend and we're living together, let's say if he should upset me, I can choose not to cook, I can choose not to clean. In fact, I can pack my bags and go back home. And nobody is going to point any finger at me because I don't owe him any responsibility. Okay, yes, he's my boyfriend, but so I'm not his wife. But if I was married to a man and we had issues, if I didn't cook for him, if I didn't clean, people would still label me a bad wife because, okay, the man is wrong, but it's your duty and responsibility as a wife to take care of the home and vice versa. And most times when married couples like have misunderstandings, maybe not something huge, but they are the points where they are not talking to each other. The worst is one of them sleeps in the bedroom and the other sleeps in another room or in on the couch, right? But then if we were dating and I, let's say, went to spend a week or I was living with my boyfriend and he upsets me, I would just pack my bags and go home. So you see the difference. When you're married, there's a sense of responsibility, there's a sense of commitment there. But when you're not married, it's like nothing is binding you. So you can do anything you want and nobody will hold you accountable to anything. Because first of all, there's nothing to be accountable for. I'm his girlfriend, not his wife. So this is where the difference is. So first of all, we need to understand that. And my own main thing is, ladies, I'm speaking to my ladies now, including myself. When you get to that point where you're dating a guy, you love him, you're ready, you want to be married, and you have that conversation with him and he makes it absolutely clear that he doesn't want to get married. Remember, you can only make that decision for yourself. Do I want to stay with this man? Meaning my dream of getting married, I need to squash it and accept that he doesn't want to get married and live with him the way he wants me to? Or do I definitely know that no, I want to be married someday, so pack my bags and leave. And hopefully, I will meet the man who loves me enough and wants to make me his wife. So either way, you have got a decision or a choice to make for yourself. And also, let me also stress that this doesn't make the other party a bad person. Now, a man or a woman does not want to be married doesn't make them a bad person. I personally feel like it's just their choice. That I prefer to eat porridge than toast in the morning doesn't make me a bad person, does it? So it's the same thing. You want to be married, he doesn't want to be married. It doesn't make him a bad person. It's just that's his preference. So it's for you to, okay, I love him enough, so I accept that. Or I love him, but no, I don't accept that. I want something different. So it goes like I'm repeating myself, but yeah, this is what I came to talk about. That let's be aware of ourselves, and when we find ourselves in situations like that, think of yourself and what you know you definitely can live with. Make that choice for you, and leave the other party to deal with what they want to deal with. So yeah, guys, let me know what you think, and as always, stay awesome.